everybody, this is my first video and this video is about PMS, as females we experience all kind of emotions and stress or up and downs, and both in emotional and physical effect just a couple of weeks before we have our menstrual cycle. So we're going to go through 4 different points on the auricular acupuncture, on the foot, on the general points on the body, as well as herbs that might actually help menstrual cycles. With the menstrual cycle with females, there's normally there's 3 type of balances. One is like people who's balanced. One is deficient. When people have deficiency and cold syndromes, when they have received the period, they will have less. Like it's harder for them to come down. Sometimes they will experience pain, and the blood come down as a more clotted, thick, and also the color will be very dark. So that is in more like this kind of things can be helped through Moxa. So the other syndrome you might have, the other effect some people have is excess. Excess is when someone who has shorter menstrual cycles, so they receive the menstrual cycle in less than what they normally have. So some people, their normal menstrual cycle is 30 days, so they might have the menstrual cycle twice in the month, or even like in a 20-day block, which is shorter than what they normally have. So that's excess. Excess means that there's too much energy and too much blood in the body you need to get rid of. So the excess has different way of treating. So in generally, when we have menstrual cycles, we can use Moxa to help the blood to flow. So you can do this a week before your menstrual cycle, and then actually it's quite recommended to do it also during the menstrual cycle. So this is a Moxa stick. So you can buy it from your Chinese store. So there's like 3-year Moxa stick, 5-year Moxa stick. The longer it is, the longer they're actually kept, the more expensive they are, and apparently better quality. When you use a Moxa stick, just be careful because they're very hot. So the fire hazard is very pay attention to fire hazard. I always have a glass of water, so when I finish I can dip in the water, so this way that I will not cause any fire hazard. So this is a new stick. So to keep your Moxa stick in a dried area or sealed plastic bag so they don't get moisture in them. So there's 3 points I suggest you use for Moxas. The first point is on your leg. It's called the Spleen 6. So everybody has different size, depends on their finger. So to measure yourself, you find your fingers, 4 fingers, and then between those knuckles, that length is 3 chun in Chinese measurement. So you find the bone here, and you measure 3 chun up between your tendon and leg. So there's a point right there, 3 chun up. So this is the point that it's called Spleen 6. You can look that on the internet if you like, exactly the location. So this is how you measure the point, sharp point of your bone, 3 chun up, approximately there. So I suggest you in the beginning you can lit this. I'm not going to do it at home. This is Moxa can be very smoky. So when to do Moxa as well, you best choose a day that is not too cold. Like, you shouldn't do it in the wind, because what Moxa does is recharge you with energy and opens up pores and your body. So you need to do it in an environment that is not wet or not too cold for you. So I normally have, if it's winter, I normally have heater on, or I don't actually do it outside when the wind and rain is blowing outside. that don't suggest you do this, because you can see when I was studying in the Chinese hospital during the cold weather, the hospital is always empty. That is, nobody ever comes to the hospital. So spleen 6 is excellent point for female, and this point is not to be used if you're pregnant. So if you're pregnant, I don't actually suggest you use any of the method I'm actually describing, because yes, don't use it. So this will help the flow of your menstrual cycle and reduce some of the physical effect. So that's spleen 3. Sorry, 6. 3 is here. So that's the point there. So you can moxa it to about the right distance, and you circle in one direction, preferably in one direction. And the length, I normally do about 5 minutes, but really it depends on the person. And if you feel, some people are very sensitive to heat and some people are not. So if you feel that the heat is actually generated up your leg, and to like you can feel the difference and it's warming up your lower body. So I suggest you to do on the both foot, which is the same location, spleen 6. Okay, so 3 twin is this length of your, it's about this much for me. 3 twin. So this is the first moxa point, and this is the in point of your body. Like it's a connecting point of your liver, your spleen, and also your kidney. So this will tonify the in the body, which helps the blood flow. And the second point is it's 4 fingers from your belly button down. So right in the middle, it's a Ren point. This is pretty much where, this is your ovary somewhere here. This is basically where the tension, we'll sometimes feel tension around here, and we'll have menstrual cycles. This also tonify the core energy of the body. So you can even use it when you're not having menstrual cycles. What you can do with this pointer is you can use the same method. You can do this in one direction. Or if you actually want to do it without the effort, you can get yourself one of those, I got this, I haven't used it for a while, called a Moxa box. So you take a small stick of Moxa, stick onto this Moxa box, and then lit it, make sure you lit it. And then you put into this little pouch. Right? And then you can strap this around your stomach. Yeah, I have all kind of devices that accumulated during the years. So this will warm up, and you can put your clothes on it. And then let it burn for like 20 minutes if you want. It gets really hot and smoky, so the house might get a bit smoky. It's really good to get rid of insect too, moxa. But it smells and smells for a while. So this is the second point to use, and this will actually heat up the core of your body. And the third point you could use, I actually don't use it very often, but I like it. It's called the PC pericardium channel. So instead of 4 fingers, you have 3 fingers from the wrist up between the 2 tendons. So 3 fingers, wrist up between the 2 tendons. So this is the pericardium channel. This is an excellent channel to use when you feel dizzy, like nauseous, dizzy, and also sometimes you sit in the car and you've been traveling for too long, and pressing that point actually can get rid of some of the noisy dizziness in the head. So this is actually also a good point to press, or you can use a moxa stick. This will tonify your heart and keep you a bit more balanced in the heart, because when we have our period, we're losing a lot of blood, we're losing all the kind of energies out of our systems. So this is the 3 point I suggest when it comes to moxa. yeah, just be careful with the fire hazard when you use moxa. Okay. The other method I suggest is the herb. Herb I take as a tea is called Dang Gui, and I can write down the bottom. In Chinese, we believe these herbs keeps us young, and it has like it's everywhere. You can get it in your country, but I do suggest you get it from different sources because different quality will have different effect. So once I bought it from a Chinese place, Dang Gui wasn't very good, and I drank it, didn't feel as good. And then another times I got organic ones from on the internet, and when I drink it, I can actually instantly feel the effect. Also, how long the herb's been kept as well. The longer it kept, the less effect it has, and also has produced. So if you start to drink Dang Gui, you can drink it as a tea. It's a root of a plant. So they either come in slices, or they come in powders, or they come in like a root. So I normally just slice them or have them come in slices or powders, and I put into hot water and just drink it as a tea when I get up. Or you could put into your chicken soup if you're not vegetarian. So you can cook it into, this is very traditional, like Dang Gui chicken soup is what Chinese people do when you want to really tonify your female essence. So I highly suggest you drink Dang Gui if during just a week before your menstrual cycle, or even, and that sort of balance out the hormone a little bit. I do not suggest you to give it to your partner or the male counterparts. Apparently, if you cook it into soup and then give it to your male counterpart, they might grow breasts. So it's not suggested to cook it to give your kids and partners. You might give them some female hormones for them to grow boobs. So this is the second one. It was the herbs, and the third one is reflexology. So there's a point. This like a ovary point that is on your foot. So if you have a little bit of ovary problems or anything related to that point, that part of your body will actually reflect it on part of your foot. So to look at it, it's around here of your foot. And if you press it really hard, with reflexology is that if you haven't got any problems physically with your body, that part of body will not hurt as much. So it's different on how hard you press. So each person will be different. So if someone is more sick in that organ of their body, and if you press it, even with slight press, they go like, ouch, crazy, and like, don't touch me type of thing. But if you're on the healthy person, if you can press it very hard and you're not feeling as much. But this is also a good point to massage your foot with. Generally just tonify the female body. So yeah. And there's one more point to massage on your feet if you feel the anger, because also they say sometimes people feel angry, like. And this is right between the toes and this point. See, this point for people who are not angry or have liver stagnation, you press it, no big deal, But for someone who might have a little bit of liver stagnation, can feel the liver stagnation when upper body are more not as flowy. So also, this is the point to press, just one turn above between the big toe and the second one. And then for someone who has liver stagnation, you press it, they can become very, very sensitive. So all the points on the foot is very sensitive for people who actually have sickness over. So I normally just circle them. So this one I go up and down. But normally I just circle the same point really hard for like 36. Saying something about 36 times. So you massage it very hard for 36 times. if you do have pain in those areas, it means that there might be a bit of issue, because reflexology affects the body affects the organs on your feet, and it's like a pressure point, and you push it. Yeah. So those are the reflexology points. Those are also the points I use when I do acupuncture, but I do not suggest you to do acupuncture unless you know the needles and you know what you're doing. I think massage has the same effect, and sometimes you can get other people to help you to massage those points for you, because healing energy from the others sometimes is better than healing energy from yourself, because it's the external energy. The last one I'm going to use is called auricular acupuncture, and I actually find this one the most helpful. I did not believe auricular acupuncture until last year, because I was like, how does, feet I understand, but how does the ear actually affect my body? And but after I experienced it, and when I was in India, and I was quite actually amazed by how this actually affected, and I was using auricular acupuncture on my ear one day, and I didn't feel like eating for 2 days. Yeah, that was the hanger point. I was like, oh, I'm just trying the hanger point, and I tried the hanger point, and I didn't feel like eating for 2 days. It wasn't totally healthy, not feeling like eating, but it actually proves that it actually works. And with the auricular acupuncture, sometimes when you're on the ovary point, you can actually feel the instant feelings in your stomach. Somehow it's connected through your brain. So it's a bit hard to see, but those are the points we use on the auricular acupuncture. So I use this thing called the electrical acupuncture device. So I bought this on the internet, and it's not expensive. You can get it from Amazon. It's called electronic acupuncture pen, and it looks like this. Well, you can also put needles in your ear if you want, but it's hard to put needles in your own ear unless you get someone else to do it. And actually, to be honest, I don't. Yeah, it's not very painful at all to get needles in your ear. I have received it before. It was interesting. So how this electronic device works is that you recharge it, and there's sensitivity, and there's a on and off. So you turn it on, you plug it in, you connect it. So everybody have different connectivity. You hold it, and you make sure you have the right sensitivity, which is this one. And so it's about the right sensitivity. Each person has different sensitivities, and also because each day you have different blood flow, different energy, actually the sensitivity changes, and also depends on how much electricity this thing has. So the other one is actually an electrical shock. So you can adjust it as well. So I have it on 2 because I'm quite sensitive, and when you receive an electrical shock in your ear, it's like, it's not that bad actually. You can adjust it to the point just before pain. It's like pulse, 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 pulse. So this is saying that I'm connected, the machine is working. This is just check on my hand. So how this works is that, for example, if I'm hangry and I put this on my hanger point, and my hanger point just go crazy, it will go like this. Right? But if I'm not hangry, like now I'm not hangry, just had lunch, and I'm not a big eater, there's nothing happens. So this basically actually detects which part of your body and what part of your brain is affected at this point. For example, this is before having my period. I think I'm coming sometimes this week. So I feel that my hormone is a bit unbalanced. I can feel a little bit, it used to be worse, angry and going crazy on my partners. But now, so this point, which is called what do you call them? This is the endocrine point. So the endocrine point, there's many points, see. So it means that my hormone is actually in a bit of imbalance at the moment, because I'm about to have my menstrual cycles. And this point does not actually buzz like this at all when I'm not having my menstrual cycle or PMS, premenstrual cycle syndromes, right? This point will just like normal. So you can tell the difference. You see normal, crazy. And also because menstrual cycle is also affected with ovaries. So if you go to this couple of ovary points in your ear, also it's affecting my ovary as well. So I can actually detect what part of my body is actually affected. There's so many points. There's a couple of hundred points on ear. There's like ear points. There's points for your knee. If someone have a knee pain and you put it on your knee, points on your ear, then it will go like buzzing. But if someone doesn't have any, if I don't have any knee pain, put on my ear, nothing happens. So with the premenstrual cycle syndrome, the emotions. So these points we use are the endocrine points. So this point actually, let me have a look. Balance the endocrine hormones, so raise, lower, basically. Yes, basically you balance the brain, produce the amount of hormone that in the body. So it's hard to see. I'm not sure if I can see it with this lovely little ear. So endocrine point is right in the groove where this little needle is. So in the groove. Yeah. So you can do this yourself at home, because I do this at home because I know that I can tell I have imbalance because it's buzzing. And then you can press this button on the top. Make sure you don't have it on too high. Like you don't have the electrical buzz on too high. I have it normally on 2. And you can just buzz yourself. And if it's too much for you, you can adjust the lower. And if it's not enough, you can go a bit higher. The sensitivity on each point is different, so you cannot adjust it to your liking. So this is the endocrine point, and I normally buzz it for a bit of time. Basically, this is somehow affecting my brain and tell my brain to balance my hormones. Actually, it works. You can feel that, like with the ear point, sometimes it's interesting. So the first point is the endocrine point, and the second point I use is you can check. This is called I call the relaxation point. It's for people who can't relax. And it's right there. So this is your little ear. So just below endocrine point is actually inside. So this one comes down here. So this is for people who have anxieties. So we can also experience anxieties, and not only when we have our period, but also when we can relax from work and all kind of things happening in our life, and we can sleep. So this point, because I'm actually quite relaxed at the moment, it's not buzzing. So you can endocrine down, you can check. If it's not buzzing, you don't have to buzz it because I'm relaxed. Well, my body is pretty chilled out now. I'm not super stressed. I just have a bit of hormone imbalance. So this is the other point I check. I don't have a name for this point, but I call it relaxation point. This is a really good point to use when I have a bit of stress on hand. It really distress me. And the third point I use is called sympathetic automatic PT. This point is actually is also a relaxation point for the brain. So it's like an auto flight system. So our body sometimes in certain situations, in a stressful situations, become quite tensed. And then it triggers the nerve system. This is actually a nerve point. This point, I don't suggest you do it for too long. So the location of this point is at, let me see, right there, if you can see. So this is your ear, this is your groove, right in beside the groove inside. And probably because I have a little bit PMS and part of my body is still quite nervous when I buzz this point. Yes, yeah, this is actually one of my favorite points. I buzz it for a bit, and I think the first couple of times I feel the electricity go, and then somehow take over the body. Sometimes for some people, it doesn't have much effect. It depends. So, yeah, it can be quite pleasurable. The next one is called ovary and uterus points. I use these 2 points quite often when I have tension, because I get bloating sometimes in this with ovaries and uteruses, and it's not very comfortable. So with those 2 points, there is the Chinese points and there is the Germany points. So the German doctor points. So there's 2 set of different points for the ovaries. So I go for the ovary, the German points, and the uterus, the German points. So the uterus is actually they're actually both in this groove. You can't look. So this was the synthetic automatic point. So, and then you have the uterus just below it, and then if you come down to around here, and this is where the ovary point is. So what you can do is you find your synthetic automatic nerve point, and then you can just slide down and see any point along this line actually start to buzz. So it means that if it buzzes, my series on this, if it buzzes, then if it makes noises, then I buzz it. If it doesn't make noise, I just ignore. It means that there's not much going on there. So your body not thinking about this part of your body. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, those are my ovaries and uterus. So if you slide down, you can find the point, and where it buzzes the loudest, and then you can electric shock these points for yourself. Those are the ovaries and uterus points. So there's 2 points on this edge. So this is your synthetic, and then if you slide down this area, and then you'll find your ovary and uterus, and whatever buzzes means that it's actually quite easy to use. And then you have the Chinese uterus and the Chinese ovaries. That those are optional. I also use them, and it also buzzes on my ear at the moment as well. So the Chinese uterus is right there. It's right there. It's a bit harder to find. So you have this triangle on your ear. It's the upper top triangle, and that's Chinese uterus. And then you also have the Chinese ovary. Chinese ovary is close to your endocrine points there, but it's right there. So that's your Chinese ovary, just inside of this little flip. So basically, you'll get your machine out, and then in the intergroin, and then you can find your ovaries. So they're buzzing as well. So obviously, I'm also having my PMS myself a little bit. So all these points are going, and this is not the points I use to help myself. Also, obviously, there's other points for other effects like sleeping and eating disorders and all kind of different things. So I'm a big fan of our auricular acupuncture, and I find that it's actually quite effective. This effect of auricular acupuncture also helps things like hay fevers, but it's actually short term. So my suggestion is get yourself one of these, and they're like $30 on Amazon. Like I don't know, I got them from China, but they're not very expensive. And so when you have your issues or whatever, you feel like you have stress or you need your PMS syndrome to be a bit relieved, you can use one of these. And I think ever since I start using the auricular acupuncture on the PMS, I'm a bit more calm now. It's still not 100%, but I feel more calm. I think it reduced the symptoms, especially the physical symptoms with the auricular. Like physically, I don't feel bloating anymore, and I don't feel tenderness in my breast anymore. But emotionally, I think it removed about 80% of those anger. I get angry and a bit bossy and crazy. I have menstrual cycles and just want to throw things out at doors. A bit of liver disorder. This is my video, and I hope you like it. I hope it's half hours. Okay, I hope you like it. If you have any questions, please send me an email or do a Facebook thing. Thanks. Stay safe.